created this. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Sundays with a Cherry on Top. I am your host, Cherry. And I just want to say that it's good to see you. I'm happy that you're here. And I'm just excited for my next guest, who I'm going to bring on in a few seconds. But before I do that, you guys know me so long. I can't even talk. I'm so excited. Okay, this is how excited I am about my girl coming on. So let me repeat myself, okay? Because I want you guys to be able to understand what the hell I'm saying. But anyway, so you know the drill. Every Sunday, live, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can watch us on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and follow me on social media. Sundays with the Cherry on Top on Facebook, Sundays with the Cherry on Top on Instagram, and Sundays with Cherry on Twitter. Yes. So I have good news and bad news. The good news is that I have an amazing guest for you coming up, Jessica Francis Dukes. The bad news is not kind of bad news, but Sundays with the Cherry on Top is going to be taking you know how I like to take my little breaks. Well, this is the last episode of this season. We've had a great season. So you guys, if you missed seasons in the past, please go to the YouTube channel. All the episodes are there from last season to this season. And there's snippets of episodes that you can catch, commercial snippets. And if you want to sit down and watch a full interview, they are all up there for you to watch. And so, like I was saying, this is my last episode for about 3 weeks. And then Bjorn, my team, and I will come back in April with a new lineup, some new guests to talk to, but just a way for us to have our spring break and take a break and to catch up on things that we need to catch up on and then be back in the mix. Because I got some things going on behind the scenes too. You know, I'm just saying, I got to take care of myself as well. So that's what we're going to be doing. And you guys know how, like with every episode, I like to do a fun fact. And a fun fact about Jessica and I is that I've known this girl for a long time and I cannot figure out where we met, okay? So when she comes on, she may have to tell me because I don't remember. But I remember seeing her in the show Booty Candy, we'll talk about later in the interview. And I was looking at her like, who the hell is this woman? She is so good. And she's going to take New York by storm, which she did. And she's going to take the acting world by storm, which she's doing as we speak. And so I was just trying to figure it out because she is my girl and I've known her for a long time. And like, now I'm like, how did we meet? I don't even remember. So that's the fun fact about Jessica, that she's my girl. She's part of my tribe, but I have no idea how we met. And she's amazing. Anyway, so with that said, I just want to welcome her on. So everybody who's watching, please put your hands together for my girl, Jessica Francis Dukes.
Girl, that intro was so cute.
Thank you so much. You know, I try to just, make it fun before I bring you guys on. But you had me so excited I couldn't get the words out. I was like, I can't.
That's how you get words all the time.
Oh my gosh. So I don't even remember how we met, but do you have an idea?
I laughed so hard. I feel like weren't we at MBT at a show and you were sitting in the audience? Okay. You were sitting in the front row and I walked in, you were like, and I was like, and I had
oh my God. So I was stalking you basically.
Like, I'm sorry. It's my name's Erin. I just remember I'm sure we met after Booty Candy.
Yeah.
That production, we saw each other, and I feel like Kari Young was the lead of that one, and it was like based in Louisiana, but I can't remember what the name of it was.
Me neither.
A couple people were in it, and you were like, "I'm sorry, I just waved at you like I knew you." But so I'm like, girl,
so you're probably like my best friend in my head because, like I said in my introduction, when I saw you, when you came, I mean, like everybody was talking about the show and everybody was like, this girl, Jessica, she's on the scene. Who is she? Y'all better watch out. Y'all better get together, get them auditions ready because she is on point. And I was like, she is my best friend in my head because you blew me away with that show. I just loved it. But we'll get to that later. I like to start each episode and each interview with a check-in. So before we get to all of that, there's so much going on, in the country and in the world with this pandemic. Some people wear masks, some people not wear masks. There's so much conversation. What are you doing? How are you feeling? Let me just, how are you feeling with all of this? Because we're still in it.
I had a huge lesson this year, and how selfish people are. I think sometimes
Amen.
can be gullible and like think that, you know, somewhere deep down there's people that maybe it's just they got stuff going on. You got something going on, or no, but there are people that are truly like, it's all about me, and
Mhm.
you know, this is what I feel, and you're not going to take away the things that are important to me, regardless of who that affects. And that was a lesson I had to learn this year. I was like, wow, people really don't care. I already knew Americans were selfish, but this was a whole nother level that I was introduced to. I was just like, really? Like, really? Y'all gonna just walk around with no mask on and say that you don't want to, you know, have your freedom taken or your privilege? I don't understand.
Yeah.
So that's been something this year. But, you know, I found so many different wonderful ways to sort of hold my sanity
Nice. Yeah.
in this time. And so that's kind of what I've been focused on, is like self-care and you know, just I turned my apartment into an art playground and just sort of played.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is so good. I mean, art playground, because you know we need it. We need it.
Horrible. My lighting is horrible, y'all. I'm so sorry. There we go. That's a little bit better.
Well, you look good. You know, I couldn't tell. I was just like, you looking like Jessica, the Jessica that I know.
You're an actor and you don't even see, like, get in your light.
Okay. Find that spotlight. The thing about making your apartment into an artist playground is just so key, because, you know, as artists who are watching this now and who will watch this later, just to find that self-care and to really still play, like go back to that child inside of you and play. And really, I've been doing a lot of that during this time too of the shutdown, dancing in my apartment by myself, with myself, and playing my favorite Spotify list and dancing. So I love the idea that you have made your apartment into an artist playground. That's so important.
Yeah.
I really think that's great. And so I want to get into a little bit about who you are, because even though I know you, I love to get to know you some more. And you have appeared in numerous TV and theater productions. Like, you've been on The Good Wife and Jessica Jones, even Detroit 67 at Center Stage, Dominic Morisseau's play. So I want to ask you, because we've seen you on TV, we've seen you on stage. Where did the love of the arts come from? How did Jessica form? How did that form for you?
I think it first started with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was like this massive sort of make-believe person. I feel like anytime I said I was a frog, she was like, okay, well, let's see. You know, where you want to go to? And I had this character that I don't know if they named her, if I named her Shirley.
Uh-huh.
And I would take some of my mom's clothes and I would go outside like any kid, you know, and I'd go behind a honeysuckle bush. And I remember that like vividly, because I used to eat the honeysuckles off the bush. And I would change my clothes and I would come back and I would ring the doorbell, and she knew like who it was. Like she would answer the door and she'd be like, Shirley! And I'd be like, is Jim home? And she'd be like, no, it's just us girls. And I'd be like, oh, okay. And she would pour her in her wine glass, and then she would pour apple juice in her wine glass for me. And we would sit there and we talk about our husbands and we talk about our boy, you know what I mean, our kids. And
oh my gosh, I love this.
Job. And I was like 5 years old, and it just became a thing. It was like, what character is it now? And this is before I even knew about like you know, dressing rooms and names on hangers, whatever. My mom, so she wouldn't have to deal with this, she would like label the hanger Shirley, and that's where Shirley's clothes went. And then she would name the hanger another character, and that's where their clothes went. And so depending on who I wanted to be that day, I would pick up those clothes. So that's kind of how it started, just make believe.
That is amazing. Yes, shout out to mom. Shout out to mama.
Crazy.
Yes, but I just, you know, it's the kid in me is like, that is just so, that's amazing. It reminds me, what's coming to mind, it reminds me when you see, well, for you know, I'm in New York, right? And so, and you know, being in New York, you see some crazy things. And when I see a parent dressed up as Superman with their child dressed up as Superman in the middle of September in the grocery store, you're like, okay, that kid's probably gonna grow up to be, you know what I mean? But it reminds me of that, of parents not stifling that part of their child when it comes to the arts in some way. So I really love that.
And I think that's what we do, really. I feel like artists are people that have grown up but allowed the child to stay alive. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
it's just like this sort of that's how I feel in a rehearsal room. I feel like a kid with a Crayola box and somebody gave me a whole room to color in, you know, and it's the love of my life being able to just make believe, and thank God somebody was like, pay her for it.
Okay, amen. Okay, like I still to this day when somebody's like, "Can you do something?" I'm like, "Am I gonna get a check? You gonna pay me for? Well, how much is it gonna be? What you gonna do?" Yeah. So no, I totally. Which leads me to my next question, which um, I just look at your career and I'm in awe of you. And I've told you this. I hold you in such high regard because you were my best friend in my head before we met. I just hold you in high regard, high regard. Anyway, so listen, you have worked with some powerhouses, Lynn Nottage, two-time Pulitzer winner,
Yeah.
for Ruined and Sweat, Ruined in 2009, Sweat in 2017, and Camila Forbes, who's the executive director of the Apollo Theater. And she was one of my guests. She was one of my first guests for my first season. And I actually went to the Apollo and we sat down in her office and I interviewed her. And that's just to name a few of the amazing people you have worked with. But one of my favorite performances of yours is, by the way, Meet Vera Stark, where you worked with them at the Signature. And it's a dream role for a lot of Black actresses. And so now you get to play this character, by the way, Meet Vera Stark. And so I want to ask you, what was it like for you bringing Vera to life and the journey you went through with her? Because I remember when I saw it and just when I first saw it, because I know this was a revival production, but I just wanted to just ask you, when you got cast in this, were you just like, oh shit? Or were you just like, oh my God, I can't wait to jump into this? What was that experience like for you?
Oh, wow. That, Vera for me, I'm not going to get emotional. How about that?
Okay, you're gonna make me emotional. We gonna be like, I don't bring no tissue to this interview, girl.
When Vera Stark got announced at Signature, there wasn't a director attached to it. They announced that they were doing it. And for me in New York, it was only 5 years into New York. I hadn't done a lead yet. And so I wasn't sure if I necessarily was going to be in line for Vera. I felt like they were going to go bigger, they were going to go TV, they were going to go name or something like that. I figured that was going to be the case. And then I feel like a couple months before that, they had auditions for Fabulation. And I was like, I got to go in and kill it, because it's not just an audition for Fabulation. This is an audition for both. I think because Lynn's going to be in the room. And I had done maybe 2 years before that Intimate Apparel. And I was just in love with Lynn's language so much. And I was just like, this is the perfect role for me, Vera, because Vera's 5 years into LA. I'm 5 years into New York. This is a role that could change her life. This is a role that could change my life. So many parallels, but I let it go because I was like, I can't get attached to this because then my heart's going to break. And David Caprioliotis was like, we're doing a reading of it, and Lynn wants to just hear the play again, and we'd love to bring you in.
Oh, nice.
And so I was like, I called a friend of mine. I was like, you need to help me read this play tonight. We won't just sit there and read it out loud, because I'm not going and I'm not doing a reading. I'm auditioning for this play right here at this table.
Amen.
And so at first I feel like I got an email that they were like, Lottie. And I was like, fine, no problem. Love the role. And then they emailed me back and they were like, my mistake, it's Vera. And I was like, okay.
Hey.
The reading was so much fun. And we just had a ball at the table and everybody from Signature was in the room. And it was some of the cast that you got a chance to see. And then 2 days later, I had an offer in my email and I fell out.
From the table read.
From the table read.
That is amazing. And see, so for people who are watching this and who will watch this later, you weren't playing, because you were like, you called a friend. I'm gonna repeat back what I heard. You called a friend and was like, listen, we're gonna read this play out loud. We're gonna work this out, because when I go into the room, I'm not just here for the table read. I'm actually auditioning for this part.
I curled my hair like it was 1930s. I put on a 1930s dress. And I remember being in the reading and seeing Dave kind of lean in. And then I saw kind of Lynn whisper something to Cam, and I was like, and I had known Cam, we are tight, like I love Cam. We had done 67 together, and we had such a good time. So I just knew that if I booked this, it would be because Cam is she's a genius.
Yeah, definitely.
One of the people for me in this business that I look at her and I go, why are you sitting here, Jessica? Do something today. Do something. Make a plan. Make a goal. Hurry up.
Yes.
She's running the world like Cam now. Do something.
Yeah.
So, sure enough, like it happened. And it was everything that you could think it was. And it was one of those auditions too, not auditions, but one of those moments too, where I was like, anybody could play this. Every one of us in, our tribe and tribes beyond.
Yeah.
Because we know this is us. This is the history of us. A Black woman on stage in the art. This is us. And when I found out it was me, it was just a dream come true.
Did you boo-hoo? I would have been boo-hooing.
I don't remember if I was boo-hooing. I think I was just like, okay, now you got what you want. Now it's time to work. I don't think I boo-hooed until closing.
Oh, that made that. Ooh, my goodness. Woo, yeah. The post-show blues. Man. Yeah, no, I see this image of you going into the table read dressed from the 30s with your hair from the 30s and everybody else in their hoodies and their sweats and they looking at you like, okay, she came to play. You know what I mean? Like,
no, because you could tell it was certain people in that room. I won't name names.
Yeah, you don't have to name names.
They was ready. I think we were all in there like, we about to book this.
I love that. I love that. So that is such an amazing story because I did not know that. So thank you for sharing that, because that is a lesson in when you really want something to go after it. And when the opportunity comes to you, if you're ready for it, like the way you seize that moment, anything is possible. So I love that. It's such a testimonial story. So I'm glad. Thank you for sharing that with us. And not only that, were you playing this amazing, iconic role that Lynn Nottage wrote? You won an Obie Award for your work in Booty Candy is where I first saw you. And when I was shouting you out, the whole time I was watching the show, my mouth was open. I was like, who is this woman? She's so good. Because the different characters and the way your characterizations were and the way you embodied all the characters that you played, I thought that you were just amazing. And that was over at Playwrights Horizons. And when you, with getting the Obie, how did it feel to be recognized for your work at the time? This is 2015. You're new to New York, right? You don't know a lot of people, it sounds like. And then you do this play directed by Robert O'Hara. Everybody's talking about it. It's selling out. People are just cannot get enough of this play. And then the Obies come, and then they're like, Jessica, here's an Obie award. How did you feel getting recognized for your work at the time?
So I didn't know what an Obie was.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
I'm telling on myself, y'all. I'm telling on myself. So, I was in DC when I booked. I was getting ready to go do a show somewhere else because I had come up and auditioned for it. Robert called me and was like, Playwrights Horizons doing Booty Candy because I originated it in DC along with and he was like, I can't give you the role. Like, you have to audition. And I was like, no problem. Got it. Cool. And he was like, now, they don't know your work. You don't have New York on your resume. I'm just letting you know all the things that are against you. You got to come in and kill it. I was like, done. Easy.
Love it.
I smashed it. I smashed it. And then I got home. I was doing piano lesson. I remember being in a parking lot, getting ready to go into the dressing room. And I got the email that I didn't get it.
Are you serious?
And I was like,
holding everything back in. You're like,
oh
my gosh.
When I had another show that I was like, I was going to do that anyway. And I was thankful to do it and happy to. And then he called me, Robert O'Hara called me again at like 1 a.m. or something like that, which is like, she backed out. She got a TV show. You're up. And I was like, he was like, can you move to New York in 2 weeks? And I was like, yeah. And so I slept on Lance's floor for the first 2 weeks of rehearsal.
Are you serious?
And
you didn't have a place or anything when you came to do that show?
Nope. I eventually found a sublet, and it had no furniture. It had nothing in there because she had gone away. She was doing something else, and she had cleaned out her apartment. She was like, "It's empty." You know what I mean? Like, pay the rent, you fine. And I had an air mattress, and everybody bought like pots and pans to rehearsal and all that.
Oh, that's nice.
All my stuff in DC was already in storage, so it was kind of like perfect. I could up and go. So I left after the show to come back because I had still had shows to do in DC. And then we found out like that we were invited to the Obie. I thought I was just invited to a party.
Oh.
I didn't know nothing about, there's no nominations. You just get invited, and then all of a sudden, that means that you're something. I can't remember how that went. So I was at the bar.
Yes, that's my girl, at the bar. Yes.
I was at the bar. All I know is it was some fancy New York event that I was invited to. This would have been my first New York event to be at. And I was like, I'm going to be there. I'm going to look good. I remember the Greyhound was late. I was in the middle of, 34th Street trying to get a cab. Didn't know I couldn't get a cab where I was at. It was horrible. I was crying. It was all types of stuff. So I got there after the red carpet. It was a small little red carpet situation. And I missed everything. So as soon as I got there, I went to the bar because that was stressful.
Yeah, of course. I'd be at the bar too.
And so they're announcing stuff and they're talking and they're presenting and all the other stuff. And Robert texts me. He's like, where the are you?
Yeah.
I was like, at the bar. And so he was like, get down in your seat now. Like, get down here with us. And I was like, they won't let me in downstairs. It was just this whole debacle. So finally I get downstairs and I'm coming through the crowd with the martini. Like,
yes.
And I sit down and they start talking about booty candy. And I was like, oh shit, Robert about to get an award. And so then they were like, and the Obie goes to Robert, a writer and director. And I was like, I'm screaming and blah, blah, blah. And they were like, and also the whole cast gets da, 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 da. And I was like, huh? And literally all of us were sitting there for a second like, huh? And sure enough, all of a sudden it was an Obie in my hand. And I had no clue what was going on. And I think it was just kind of like this moment of like, okay, here we go. And then I went home that night and I like researched what it was and like who had one and all this other stuff. And I was like, oh shit. But when I look back on it, it was it was one of those shows, it just changes your idea of art when you see something from Robert O'Hara. Like he completely flips the switch. I think is right or wrong or whatever. And he's just amazing. So I was thankful to be on board with that team.
Wow. These are some good stories. I'm just so in awe because it's just, especially on a spiritual plane, it's like you see your steps being ordered and how you ready. When the opportunity comes, it's like, yeah, you there to meet with it. And I love this. This is good for any artist to listen to and watch and be inspired by, because I'm being inspired now. Because there's been times, you and I have had conversations where I was like, why am I even still doing this? Let me go ahead and give me a desk job, Exactly. So, it's like, so hearing these stories just inspire me and others, and it'll inspire other people just to keep going and the blessings, you just don't know how the blessings are going to come to you. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I really appreciate that story a lot. And so now talking about another blessing, we have the blessing of you playing FBI Agent Miller on the hit show Ozark, which is in season 4 right now, that you can't talk about. I know you can't talk about. Now that picture that Bjorn has up there, Bjorn, my producer, you guys know about him.
Yeah.
I wanted to show that picture because that's with Tom Pelfrey, who went to Rutgers with me. Because Tom Pelfrey and I, we were at Rutgers at the same time, but we weren't in the same class, but we were there. And then while he was, doing shows and doing things that like, we're all in training. And I would look at him and like, he would just nail something. And I was like, why is he even here? Like, just go out and work. Like, it was just, but I respect his artistry because he's always about training, always about getting that work done, and always about learning about the art of his craft, which is why I love him. But I wanted to show that picture to say, give him a little shout out because he's a Rutgers alum like me. Yeah, he's great. And so what is it like being a part of this amazing cast? Because like everybody on the show to me is amazing. So for you, talk about auditioning, getting the phone call that you got it, and then now you're, season 3, and now you're on season 4, which you're shooting now. You can't talk about what is it like being on set with Jason Bateman and Laura Linney? Like, this is just amazing to me. So talk to me about a little bit about that.
This actually connects to Vera Stark. Alexa Vogel saw Vera Stark, or I don't know if she saw it or somebody from her office saw it. And I don't know if it's necessarily what got me the audition, but it was my first time going in for her. Mm-hmm. And so I went in, and it's one of my favorite shows. And Laura Linney is one of my favorite actors in the world. Look at her. She just
amazing. She's so good. Yeah.
Oops. So I went in. I felt great about it. It was one of those auditions, though, that everything went wrong before it. Trains delayed, this and that, and you get there literally 3 minutes before you're supposed to be in the room. And I had on black tights, black tank top, a jean trench coat, a leather hoodie, because I had my pencil skirt and everything in my bag, and this little bob wig because my hair was all froed out, and I was like, I had looked up FBI on the internet. I ain't seen nobody with a fro. I was like, let me just put on something. I was behind to put on anything, and so I literally had to go in the room like me, as I was. But I had done the work, so I was like, God, let this be it. Like I just all I can do is give you the work because it's just not together today. But something about that they saw, and they were just like, that's her. So I was really thankful when I got that call. I got it like a month later, though.
Oh, so wow.
I was out of sight, out of mind. And I remember sort of falling over in the parking lot when I got it and just being like, okay. And when I auditioned for it, it was recurring. And when I booked it, it was series regular.
I mean, they better make you a series regular. The way you acted up there, you voted like one of the top 2020 performances of HMI. I saw your name up there. I was like, my girl is one of the top performances on TV of 2020. I was like, so I mean, how did you feel about that? I was so moved when I read that.
That was crazy. I was like, what? Did you? I was so honest. They must not have seen all that other stuff.
Boy, I want to talk about, you said something about being out of sight, out of mind, because there's certain parts that sometimes I audition for, and then it takes me a while to let go of because it's like, I really want it. But then, so you were able to let go of Ozark because we're all fans of the show. And then to be, to go in for it, I would just be on pins and needles. But you just totally were like, okay, God is in your hands.
I got to let go of all of them.
Yeah.
First of all, my anxiety, if I'm on something, it's not healthy, and I'm not going to be able to be successful at the next audition because I'll be thinking about that other. Sometimes I'm not successful at it. There are some that you want more than others, but all of them, I think, at that time, especially because it was in that sort of like pilot season sort of in a row where you have a couple at a time, and I was so thankful at that time I had a couple that I was just putting out, and the minute I was done, I always save my audition sites just in case.
Me too.
Crystal out the window. And so I won't let it go in that aspect, but I'd let it go. I mean, it was a month later. So, and when I got the call, it was like, all of a sudden my life changed fast.
Wow.
And for me, just getting to New York, 6 years ago, and, just getting settled. I was literally dropping off Charlie Hudson III. Shout out.
Okay, shout out.
Charlie Hudson III was taking me to the U-Haul to drop my U-Haul off because I had literally just finally moved out of my DC storage unit.
Wow.
And also for 6 years, I still had stuff in storage because I was bouncing around and subletting. And I finally moved into an apartment. That was my apartment.
Yeah.
Like, so you got to move to Georgia now. And I was like, okay.
But but this is the thing. This is about your journey that is just so, when I say your steps are ordered, because when you talk about your experience with Booty Candy, and like Robert Harris, like, you got to be in New York in 2 weeks, and you was like laying on the floor on an air mattress, laying on the floor, and then something like this comes up, you're like, okay, I've been here before. I got this, right? And so when you look back, because hindsight's 2020, like, you were made for a time such as this, because that for you, another actor probably would have been like freaked out, but you were like, okay, I've been here before. I've been on the air mattress. I've been on the floor for 2 weeks, girl.
It's been my whole life. Like, I had this moment the other day where I was just like, I haven't been home in a while. Like, I kind of told you this on the phone. It was like, I was in Georgia for 6 months. Then I came back and did, a show for like 3 months, but I didn't get a chance to see too many people. And then I went away, or then we hit pandemic.
Yeah.
I'm away again. And I've been here for a little bit, and it's just like, dang, is this my life?
Yeah.
Like, who's to say that the next one will be in New York or LA or Nova Scotia?
Yeah. Oh, amen. Okay.
It's my life. So I'm okay with it. I accept it. I'm thankful.
Yeah, because you are working that part. I can't wait. I mean, I know we can't talk about it for those of y'all. I don't want nobody, for those of you guys who are watching this live, you can say things in the chat, right? Just Bjorn's there. He's monitoring. He's taking care of all any questions you may have, but don't ask about Ozark season 4. She can't answer anything.
I can't
Just so
answer
you know,
stuff.
she can't answer nothing. She can't answer nothing. So I want you to be able to feel free to say hi to Jessica, especially if you know her. But just don't get her in that corner because she can't answer that.
Answer your question about
Yeah.
working, because I didn't really answer the working with those people. Like, they teach you a lot in acting, how to, prepare, how to perform, how to, rehearse, all those things. But they don't teach you how to, once you get in the spaces that you're working towards, how to let go and know you belong.
That's real.
That's a whole nother lesson I had to learn, because all of a sudden I'm in front of Jason Bateman and my mind was like, oh, he's been doing this all his life. What if he looks at me and thinks I don't know what I'm doing? And I had to like smack that shit out the way and just be like, girl, do what you do. Like, you're here for a reason. And I remember Laura Linney, I would get so nervous when she would come around because I've been watching her.
I mean, I'm looking at Frasier. Come on now.
I mean, everything. And she sat there on the very first day and she looks at me and she goes, we fuck up all the time. And I was like, thank you.
That's so nice to hear from somebody like her, right?
Yeah, but they've taught me so much, and just like being able to be there even when I'm not called, not necessarily this season because of, all the protocols with COVID and stuff, but last season being able to be there whenever I wanted to be there. And I just got a chance to sit and watch and learn and to even learn about cameras and how your performance changes due to how the camera's moving. And I've learned so much.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, those lessons are, oh yeah. They're such gems, right? And I think about, I ain't on Ozark, but I think about my little journey and what I have to learn about the camera and stuff. And it's just fascinating how, just what resonates with me is just being in a room with pros and just going, okay, telling myself I belong, and this journey that I'm on, and the answered prayers that I'm having. It's like, okay, you know what? I'm being shown that I belong, but then you have to really battle with yourself. And so, yeah, I totally, that resonates with me. And learning the camera angles and different things and how your performance changes, it's very eye-opening. Very eye-opening, So yeah, I really understand that. And I want to shout out your one of your co-stars, Kevin. He plays Sam, because he shouted me out today.
Oh, yay!
He shouted out you and the show and me today, and I wasn't expecting that. And he was like, catch my girl, she's gonna be on Sundays at the Cherry on Top Live. And then I was just like, and I was like, oh my God, thank you so much, you have to do it. He's like, no problem, he's like, this is exciting. And I just wanted to, if he watches this later or watching now, I just wanted to give him a shout out because I was not expecting that. And I just thought that's a testament of how he views you and supports you, especially, and it gives a testament to how you guys are on set, because he totally gave you love today.
He's wonderful. We love Sam.
Yeah, he's great. So again, we can't talk about what's gonna happen. So like, I want to ask you, so being part of Ozark and being part of this amazing cast, you were set to have a huge premiere for season 3 right before the pandemic hit, and so of course everything was canceled, everything is being shut down, and Ozark would follow suit and canceled their premiere. But you did an amazing thing. And you continued to celebrate. You dressed up for the event, and you celebrated yourself and the show. Tell me why you did that, because you don't see a lot of actors doing things like that. They just go, oh, it's canceled, that's it. But you just took it another step, and you're like, I'm gonna have my premiere. So tell me why you decided to do that.
Well, I done had a premiere, done had Emmys, I had tonight. Chef Jessica she took a pause, but she coming back, and then my cleaning lady Jessie, she working on girl. No, but it hit me. I remember the day that my show closed March 9th. Mm-hmm. It's crazy that we're coming up.
I know, on a year.
But my show was supposed to close March 9th, and then maybe that next day, I closed March 8th. March 9th, I was getting a hair. I had a hair appointment to get my hair done. March 10th, I had a photo shoot. that I was doing to get ready for a premiere. And then 3 days later, I was supposed to be on a plane going to LA. And 2 days later, which was the day before I was flying out, we found out it was canceled.
Wow.
And I was fine because I was like, okay, safety first, you know. I don't think I thought this was going to be what it was or what it has been for the last year. But I knew that, you know, that was the safest thing to do. So I was like, okay, it is what it is. Roll the punches. And I remember a friend of mine talking on the phone, and she was like, you know, oh, I can't believe my job and this and that and that. And I got so mad at her because I was just like, half of my friends, if not 75% of my friends, have lost their jobs.
Wow. Yeah. Amen. That's real.
People that are in the middle of, and this is when I got emotional. I was talking to her and I get emotional again. I was like, there are people that are in the middle of firsts, you know, first moments that they've been working towards their whole lives.
Yeah.
And you mad that your paycheck is still coming in, but you got to do it a little differently? Come on.
Amen. You better say it.
More. And then at that moment, it made me feel grateful for the position that I was in. Like, even though the premiere is canceled, I got a roof over my head, my fridge. Like, I was like, I'm still going to celebrate me. I got everything I need to celebrate me. And I took my little dress out the closet that I already had. And
love it.
And I was like, I'm going to record it. And I'm going to make my own little production, because I would have been showing all the videos at the red carpet. And I'm such a document. I need to document everything. Like, I'm that person. And so I was just like, maybe it'll help somebody else celebrate in a way that they haven't celebrated themselves. And, you know, I'm a positive Annie, so I'm constantly trying to be positive and constantly push people to, you know, love on themselves.
You do that for me too. You know, I have those moments. Yes.
So I just felt like it would help people celebrate themselves in the way that I needed to celebrate in that moment.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm glad that you did it with no apology, you know, and seeing a Black woman celebrating herself, especially during a time when there's chaos going in the world, is such a revolutionary act, in the sense of like, these are the images we don't get to see a lot of. And so for you to just take it into your own hands and go, you know what, I'm going to roll with the punches, like you've been saying tonight. And you made lemon out of lemonade. And I just wanted to say that I really appreciate that move, and that you did that, because you deserved it, right? It's like, you know, you just told us this story about how you were cast, and then you're in this show, and then pandemic hits, but it's like, you don't let that stop you, right? And so that's what I love most about it. So,
and if you think about it, the premiere is just the icing on the cake. You had a cake without the icing. It's, you know, I just gotten a chance to do 6 months of shooting with, you know, some people that I've looked up to my whole life, and one of the best teams in the country, and that's the cake, you know. And then it came out, I didn't realize how amazing it would be to be in the pandemic and it to be released, and people to be like, I needed this escape, like, thank you. And I was just like, what you thanking me for? Like, but then you get like, it truly showed me how special it is what we do, you know. We can help people escape, you know, from what they're going through, even if it's just for an hour. And so many of my friends are like, I needed that. I've been away, and I just needed that. I needed to get away.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, it's a good lesson for and part of self-care, like we were talking about at the top of the interview, and how you just really you know, live that, right? You embodied that being, you know, we need to see more of us doing self-care, like those images. So
I'm self-care. Let me tell you something.
Yes, talk about it. Talk about it.
There is I'm not unapologetic, but non-negotiable in my life.
Yes.
Self-care. Like, my self-care time, my me time, that is non-negotiable.
Yeah, no, you need it. No, thank you. So listen, you know, these interviews are usually in and out, and I know we come almost towards the end, but before we get to the end of the interview, I like to ask all of my guests about a cherry pick. Okay. And before I ask you about your cherry pick, I want to continue to show my little cherry pick video that I love so much. So Bjorn, you go ahead and play that for me? Yeah.
It's so cute.
So today's cherry pick, tell me what your cherry pick is today.
So I fell in love with the company that you guys might have heard of, which is Girl Trek.
Yes, I learned more about it researching them. So
Oh my God. I was introduced to them when they did a talk on, it was Nikki Giovanni and Angela Davis, and they were having a talk, and that's how I was introduced to the company. And then I started to really sort of research on what they do. And they're just champions of sisterhood and positive motivation for Black women and Black girls. And, they have all types of, meditation retreats and walks and, it's just mental health and self-care and just loving on you as a Black woman and loving on other Black women. And it's just an outstanding organization. One of my best girlfriends actually is, she just started working with Girl Trek. And I'm like, I want to be at everything, because being a Black woman in this world.
Yes, amen.
To have an organization like that help you celebrate what that means and what that is with other Black women. I just fell in love with them. So that would be my cherry pick.
I love that's no, it's a good cherry picking. When I had heard, things in the, just in passing back in, in time, I guess is the word I'm looking for. But when I just really started to, when I asked you about your cherry picking, you brought them up, I was like, this is such a good cherry pick. And I'm not surprised, because it embodies who you are and what you stand for too, just because I know who you are, over these years, and just especially the things that we talked about in this interview, how it just all flows together. It makes the way you support me and other Black women, and the way you just love on us and give us good advice, and you're saying positive, and you're there, that a cherry pick that honors Black women, loving other Black women, it's not surprising. I just love it. And I hope people will go to the website that we had up there. And if you missed it, you can get it in the chat. Bijan will put it in the chat for you. And just check them out and find a Girl Trek near you and join and get healthy and walk and build relationships. So yes, all that. But listen, we're at the end of this interview. Like I said, these are in and out, and Can I just
say that I'm so proud of you?
Oh, don't give me, you're gonna make me cry. What you gonna say? What you about to say?
And we're just so thankful for you in the community, and this is amazing, and I'm so proud of you. And even though it's the final episode for this little segment, I can't wait till the next, and we just love you. So I'm just gonna do that for everybody.
Oh my God. Thank you. I was gonna say, like, I'm just so grateful that you're you're in my life. I'm grateful that you're not my friend in my head anymore, that you're actually my friend. And I want to say that I'm so glad that it worked out, that you had time, because I know you're busy and you have a lot on your plate. So it means a lot to me that you would take the time to help me, and just be with me and just engage in conversation and girl talk. And I love it. And for all of the people who are watching, this is my last episode for a couple of weeks, but I want to do a little toast. You want to do a little toast? Okay, yeah, go get you. So the reason why I wanted to say, I just want to toast. I just want to say, do a little toast. Oh, yes, she's ready. She's ready. I want to do a little toast.
My mimosa. I have my mimosa. I wanted to be professional, so that's why you bring it.
Yes. So I just want to say, this is to all the guests, everybody who's saying yes, and for people out in the village and the tribe who are watching, who will watch this later. I just want to say thank you guys so much for being on this journey. I want to shout out to my producer Bijan, my cousin, who does the creative side of it. And I just want to give you a shout out and say thank you so much for being my last guest for the season. But what a way to close the show on good conversation. So I just want to say cheers. So toast. Yes. Yes. So guys, thank you. I don't have an up next picture, because that's it. I don't have anybody else until 3 weeks. So thank you again. Please share this with your friends. Let people know about it. And that's it. And Jessica and I you'll see her on Ozark, and you'll see me next season. Okay. Bye guys. See you later.
Bye.